Good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Manuel Gonzalez III. In attendance with me is Commissioner Walt Benson, County Commissioner, and also the Massey unit behind me. So today we wanted to host a press conference in reference to an update on the air unit, the status, and the progress we've made up to this point. So because we've received so many different requests from the community via social media and the media about the status of the air unit, we wanted to give you an update. And I wanted the commissioner to be here to help us answer some of the questions that you are so desperately wanting. Over the loss of Metro 2 and our four fallen heroes has been a major tragedy for us. But also want to mention that we've established a chain of command and a strong chain of command since, and those people are in place now. The reason for that is so that we can start a comprehensive and strategic plan to move forward with the air unit and continue our service to the citizens of Bernalillo County and the state of New Mexico. What I want everybody to realize is that there's already a set of priorities, and we've established those priorities. And we have obligations that are already we're committed to fulfill. And those are with our federal, state, and local partners. And that means we have memorandums of understanding and agreements with them because we've already received grant funding from them, and we want to continue to fulfill them. At this point, I believe they all understand that we can't do that at this point because we've had some major losses to our staff. And so they're being patient, and I've communicated with some of those entities to ensure that we will continue forward and making progress with our air unit. I want to let everybody know that we have one of the most diverse, if not the most diverse programs in the whole world and in the region. Not only do we serve as a law enforcement service, but also as a search and rescue and a wildland firefighting. So on one side of the coin, we would consider ourselves having the warrior mentality to provide, whether it's mitigating pursuits, finding and apprehending violent offenders, surveillance. It could be officer safety. It could be drag racing. It's a host of a bunch of different responsibilities we have on the law enforcement side. But on the other side of the coin, we do search and rescue, and we do wildland firefighting. And that's a guardian mentality. And that's what makes us such a unique organization and program. And that's why we're recognized worldwide. And our staff and some of the members behind me will be recognized in Switzerland this year for having a model program. So I'd like to thank them for attending and making sure that the people that deserve that credit get it. With our aviation assets being stationed locally, we have the ability to respond without delay. I did invite also Julie Morgus-Baca, the county manager. She did have a scheduling conflict. I would have loved for her to have been here to attest to almost a decade ago when she was the general manager at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, or the Hispanic Cultural Center. And when there was a fire on the Bosque, that was one of the assets that was going to be compromised. But because of Metro 2's ability to respond, they were able to drop many buckets of water, mitigating that risk and creating a fire line and losing the possibility of losing a $40 million structure. But that's only one of many assets that they saved. And this is something that's been ongoing in our community for many years. So this asset doesn't only have the ability to save lives, but property that's very valued in the most densely populated part of the state. And I think it would be absolutely devastating not to continue that type of service. Massey also utilizes the most advanced technology in search and rescue. And I say that because they have the ability to use live stream and geopoint to find people that are lost or injured in very remote areas. And when you have the ability to find somebody, and I always say find the needle in the haystack when their lives are at risk, is a great resource. We don't want to lose that that ability. What you'll see behind me is there's a few wildland firefighting missions that we've done. This is one of them. We can provide that for you, and a host of other ones that we have. I believe our PI will have those readily available for you at the end of this press conference. Also, some of the things that we've talked about is how we're going to move forward. One of the ideas and what we're going to do in 2 weeks from today, on the 21st of this month, is we're making a trip to San Diego, to the San Diego Sheriff's Office. They have a platform that best resembles ours, and their aerial support to regional enforcement agency approach, ASTRIA, is probably one of the most proactive and advanced type programs in the country, and they were willing to meet with us on every level, from my level down to the line level. So we're taking our chain of command and a host of other people to go with us to evaluate their standard operating guidelines, their standard operating procedures, and to take away the information that we need so that we can cultivate our program to become a better program than we had before. What I believe is most interesting about their situation is that they've had adversity at the Sheriff's Office in San Diego. And almost 20 years ago, there was a Cedar Oak fire, which over 5,000 homes were destroyed, and many casualties were lost, to include one firefighter. And we believe because of that incident, they became better through that loss. Through adversity, they were able to take the opportunity and figure out how they could become more proactive and more useful to keeping the people safe in California. That was arguably the most catastrophic fire in the history of California, with over $1 billion of loss to that state and to that community. Also, the benefits of having a program like that, people are cultivated internally. So there is a better chance for sustainability and continuity, and in a tragedy, you're able to continue service. I also believe that it's a good way to recruit and retain people internally to your agency. So that's another reason we're going down there. Over the last 15 years, they've been able to validate themselves as a regional resource in the biggest region in the United States, which also we're included in, and we believe there's a lot of value to our visit. That being said, we also invited Commissioner Walt Benson and County Manager Julie Morris-Baca. Unfortunately, because of scheduling conflicts, they won't be able to attend. But upon our return, we'll be able to come back and adequately brief them, give them an update, and then we'll be able to follow up and do a press conference on our return with another report on our plans to move forward with the air unit. I believe one of the most critical things for us and for the purse string holders is that they commit to continuing to keep the citizens of Bernalillo County and the state of New Mexico safe. We understand what's at risk, to include the always chance of the East Mountains, because we had the Doghead fire just several years ago. We've had Bosque fires, and we've had other incidents. And we want to make sure that the residents of this county and this city are safe. So that being said, I'm very happy that the commissioner is here to speak. I'll let him do his opening comments. Thank you for joining us, Commissioner.
Thank you, Sheriff.
The podium's all yours.
Thank you, Sheriff. I just want to back up what the Sheriff's saying. And for me, as Commissioner of District 4 here in Bernalillo County, one of my promises to my constituents was that, along with working to create jobs, I was going to commit to working to keeping our community safe. The Sheriff's Department is essential in that, and it's not just the ground support, but also the air support. So there's a two-prong approach to keeping our residents safe, and it was just this last winter that the air support unit rescued the stranded passengers on the tram car up to the mountain. And I know that got international attention, and I think it just speaks to the versatility of this program, and also with the increase that we've had of drag racing problem. Myself and several of the commissioners, specifically Quesada, have been working to really combat street racing. And we can't do that without the sheriff's support, and I think the air unit is also an integral part of that. So for these, along with many other reasons, in the wake of this horrible tragedy that we just saw, I'm committed to supporting this MASU program and doing what we can to not take our foot off the gas in terms of supporting our community and keeping the public safe. So thank you for this opportunity, and Sheriff, thank you for all the work you're doing and your team. Appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll take or field some questions, whether it be myself or the commissioner.
Have there been any air support operations since the crash?
No, there has not.
And is that because you do have another helicopter, right? Can that helicopter be used?
Yes, that's a great question. So we still have our helicopter, the A-Star B3, and we still have a fixed-wing aircraft, the T-41C Cessna.
Okay. You need another pilot? Is that the?
So to everybody's understanding, when we lost our pilot, which was the undersheriff, we also lost the other potential pilot that was going to get trained. Since then, we have other people that are interested, and part of the chain of command that we've constructed is one of the supervisors, which is Sergeant Charles Lill. I believe he has strong interest in flying, and we've also spoken to some other people that are interested, but at this point, we're not in a position to fly at this time.
Does the pilot need to be a law enforcement officer, or could it be a civilian?
It could be a civilian, but again, that's why we're going to evaluate the program in San Diego. I tried to mention that we believe it's the most sustainable and cost-effective, and we have to make sure that when we're spending the taxpayers' dollars, that we are taking everything into consideration, because we have to be the good stewards of their taxpaying dollars. So that's why we're making the trip, to figure out what that looks like cost-wise, and making sure that we're making a good decision for the people in Bernalillo County.
You mentioned all the different things that the air unit does. How often do you think they're flying? Every week or every month? Just kind of like roughly how many operations?
Well, I can't tell you specifically, but I can tell you this, is that they fielded thousands of calls throughout the year, and to include everything from what we mentioned, whether it be a law enforcement need, a search and rescue, a wildland firefighting, and everything else that they requested. So oftentimes that is something beyond even the four corners of Bernalillo County, to include other counties surrounding and throughout the state. It was relentless. And I would tell you from the commitment that the undersheriff and the rest of the staff up here have, if they could fly all the time, they would. And so it was as much as they could, and it was quite often.
Sheriff, we all interacted with Larry and Fred very often at scenes. And last time we talked at one of the funerals, we were talking about how Larry is a veteran in flying. And he has pretty big shoes to fill, and he has a lot of untaught skill that you just learn over time. So how do you teach a new pilot to learn all the skills that Larry did, that he just learned over his years of being a pilot?
It's the same approach that Larry took when he first started the program. It's not something that happens over the night. When Larry started, right around the turn of the century, I'll say that. Okay, he was a mechanic. He became interested in flying, so it was he always said this: it was crawl, walk, run, and it's going to be the same approach. Some of these things take years to develop a pilot, but we're going to have to be patient. Unfortunately, I'm only here till the end of the year. I have a lot of patience, but these things will take anywhere from 5, 10, 15 years. But I would hope, with the vision and the plan and I'm just going to say the fortitude of this unit, that these things will happen over the years to come. So it's something that you're not going to see immediately. But I believe with the sergeant in place and some of the other people that we've talked that actually fly, that we could be possibly airworthy. I won't give you a time. I think that would be very premature and irresponsible of me. So I would have to say, let us come up with the plan. Let's see what's best for this unit. And then moving forward, if we have that timeline or down the road when we have more information, I would love to answer that question.
And do you plan to get another backup helicopter? I know the one you were using was the older one when it crashed. Is there a plan in place or money in place to get a second helicopter to have as a backup?
I think it would be very necessary. That's part of the trip to San Diego. We're going to see what kind of assets they have, see what complements our program here in Bernalillo County and the needs because of our altitude, and then make that decision. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I had the support of some of the commissioners and the county manager and the other stakeholders that know the value of this program. That's why you include these people. They're going to be the people that ultimately make the decision to purchase a helicopter.
How much would that cost with all of the equipment, all of the gear that you guys need and the helicopter? How much would that cost?
It varies. I wish I could say it was $19.99, right? But it's going to vary anywhere from maybe 8 to 15 million. And so, and that's just the ballpark, you know. So that's not committing to any of those numbers. Let us take our trip. Let's spec out if we can and look at a helicopter. And then maybe in that next press conference, we could say, hey, this is what we're looking at. And we'll come up with our dream sheet. And then we'll bring the dream to the commissioner and to the county manager and to all the other stakeholders and see if we can fulfill that.
Sheriff, were there other similar programs you were looking at, or did San Diego stick out to you because, like you said, they faced a type of adversity? Is that why you guys sought them out? Or?
It was kind of twofold. It was the resemblance in our program and the adversity. And we felt like adversity adds a lot to some of the things we're facing, and then also to figure out how they move forward and became so successful. And I believe we already had a very successful program. We need to figure out how to sustain that program in the long term in the event of a tragedy.
Are there other aspects that you're thinking of trying to improve upon from the unit? Things that you think could be better?
I think we do that every single day. I think that's something that, whether it be the staff we lost or the staff that's in place that's still here with us, that's something you work on all the time. I can tell you from my perspective as being the sheriff that that's something we work on every aspect of operations throughout the department. So you're always trying to do better. And again, it goes back to what I opened up with, is that we want to be the good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. So we want to ensure that whenever we're doing something, it's going to be at the most excellent level.
So does that mean possibly doing fewer operations?
No, it could be maybe doing more, but doing it more efficiently. So it's almost like how we've come up with the technology. When you can cut down a search and rescue from days to minutes, then that's efficiency. And that's exactly what we're talking about when we said earlier that we're using the most advanced technology in the world. We mean it. When we can respond when another maybe unit is going to look for somebody and they can't find them, and they've spent literally, I don't know how many man hours. It could be half a day, it could be a day, it could be a couple of days, and we can automatically just fly straight to them and pull them out. That's the kind of efficiency we want.
And Sheriff, your current helicopter can do all the things that helicopter could, right, the one that crashed?
Say again?
Your current helicopter that you have now can still do all the same things?
It's a different platform.
Okay.
No. We're going to go to evaluate what the needs are for search and rescue and wildland firefighting.
So right now it's all pretty much, if we were to fly, for example, it would just be law enforcement stuff, car chases, that kind of stuff.
At this point, it would probably be strictly law enforcement. Anyone else? Anything for the commissioner? Okay, well, I just wanted to thank the commissioner for coming out and supporting us. I wanted to thank the Massey unit for holding everything together and continuing to work hard as you continue to work on the aircraft. That's what they're doing at this point. I'd also like to thank the San Diego Sheriff's Office in advance for taking the time to meet with us on every level. They're taking time away from their operations so they can literally meet with our staff. So I wanted to thank them. I'd like to thank the public and for all the support we received nationally, the thank yous, the sympathy cards, all the gifts that they've offered out to all the families. That being said, I promised that I would bring this up because Menchie's was willing to do another fundraiser for the families. 100% of the proceeds will go to the families. 100%. So if you get the chance this Saturday to take your families out from 11 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. at any of the facilities that they own, they're going to give back to the families. What a better way to give back, recognize the families, thank them. We appreciate you guys coming out, and I'd like to thank the media for the support you've given us and the press that you've given us and the recognition you've given Larry and all the rest of the Lieutenant Fred Beers, Deputy Michael Levinson, and Rescue Specialist Matt King. We really appreciate it. Thank you.